Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 12th of September. It is Friday. We do have a 12-game main slate ahead of us this evening, and we do not have any weather to worry about. Some slight winds blowing out in a lot of games this evening. Just a couple of games in the 80s. One being in Sacramento, where we're obviously going to be targeting offenses most of the time anyways. And then one in Atlanta, where I do think we can target a little bit of offense in that one. A reminder that this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate. And I will be looking at DraftKings, as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that fun stuff said and done, let's just jump right into the games. Baltimore-Toronto to get us started. Chris Bassitt has been at his best when pitching at home. So he is at home on the slate. It's been mediocre recently. Since the middle to end of July, he has just one fantasy game of over 18.5 fantasy points. Most of the time, his K numbers have really come down. Did have this 10 strikeout performance against Pittsburgh. His numbers at home have been phenomenal, but his numbers against Baltimore have not. This one was in Baltimore. And the first start of the year was home against Baltimore. But what do we do here? I think I'm going to lean towards playing him. But my initial gut was like, I just don't know if he's going to put up a score that at the end of the night on a 12-game slate, we say, God, I wish I would have played Chris Bassitt, or God, I wish I would have played more Chris Bassitt. So when I think like that, that tells me I should probably just fade him. It kind of depends on what you believe in more. I really believe in the home road splits for pitchers, just being comfortable, etc. But some of that can be noise, right? Like maybe all of his toughest matchups have come on the road, and his starts at home have been against some of the weaker teams in baseball. That certainly could be the case. But he did dominate the Yankees at home. Yankees again at home. Philly at home. Did struggle a little bit against the A's. San Diego at home. So, I'm not sure how to, interpret all of his numbers. Part of me just wants to say screw it and I'll pass and not worry about it. And maybe that's the right route to take. So I guess my final decision is I'm going to kind of consider him for the next few hours before I make a final decision. Trevor Rogers on the other side, been absolutely phenomenal. 2 earned runs or fewer in all but one start this season. 1 earned run or fewer in all but 4 starts, which makes 11 starts. 11 of those 15 starts have been 1 run or fewer. Just been absolutely phenomenal. He has been weaker when on the road, which is where he's at in this slate. And the fact that Toronto doesn't strike out a whole lot does make me think that it's a decent spot to pass on Trevor Rogers. With that said, he's been so good all season long that I actually am considering him. And I'll be honest, I am considering him more than I am Chris Bassitt right now. Despite what I assume Toronto being the favorite in this game. I haven't looked at any of the lines. But overall, I do think there's a route to performing strongly. I do think the Toronto lineup takes a bit of a hit without Bo Bichette. Andres Jimenez being in there every day struggles against left-handed pitching. Varsho has struggled against left-handed pitching, etc. I do think Rogers makes a little bit more sense than Chris Bassitt. Now, after spending that much time on that game, let's just jump into the next one. Giolito versus Luis Gil. Giolito's all over the place. More walks than strikeouts last start. Same amount of walks as strikeouts in his last 2. 3 out of his last 4. Virtually the same amount. Struggled a bit against the Yankees the first time he faced them. I am going to pass on Giolito. I do realize he does have extremely strong upside. There is a little bit of danger to passing on him. The Yankees can strike out a little bit, but I'm just going to pass on him in this spot. I think the same thing is going to be said for Luis Gil. Walks are just super high. Strikeouts, for the most part, aren't there. He just randomly has these 2 7s where he wasn't walking as many guys. So maybe that's the key. You find the starts where he's not walking guys, he has a shot at some upside. With that said, he hasn't bypassed 18.4 fantasy points in any of his starts. Makes me feel alright about passing on him, thinking that he's just not going to put up a score that we absolutely need in large field GPPs this evening. White Sox, Cleveland. Martin Perez, coming off of an atrocious performance, but his 3 starts prior to that were really strong. Cleveland's offense has kind of been decent of late, and Perez has struggled mightily on the road. Probably not a spot where I want to go to on a 12-gamer. Tanner Bybee on the other side, probably going to have to pass on Bybee. Just been unimpressed with his performance this season. Now, obviously, he has been stronger at home. He is 2-0 against the White Sox. So there are some things working in his favor. 16.6 fantasy points the last time he faced them. 18 the first time. So it's not amazing by any means, but he's been steady. With that said, he just does feel like, Chris Bassett-like, in that he could have a solid performance and the upside just might not be there. And at the end of the night, I don't know that we want to, rely on getting an 18 fantasy point performance on a 12-game slate. Texas and the Mets is a pitching matchup I really like. Jacob deGrom taking on his former team. They've had some struggles recently. They exploded in the first inning yesterday and then were shut down the rest of the game. So their recent trends kind of make me think that deGrom's in play. I do love his upside, his ability. I hate the bouncing around in pitch count. Extra day of rest coming in here. I would guess he's going to throw in the 90s for pitches, but I guess we just never know. I do think he's got the upside we're looking for. On the other side, Jonah Tong. Incredible debut. Horrendous second game. 3 home runs allowed. Those were the only 3 hits allowed. It was the walks that kind of joined in on that rough outing. I'm going to go to him just because the Texas lineup just looks so weak without Seager and Adolis Garcia in it. I think there's plenty of K upside for Jonah Tong in this spot. Detroit and Miami. Alcantara. Rough start last time out, but prior to that had 4 really strong ones in a row. Looked like he was kind of turning a corner. He still might be. His numbers are better when at home, where he's at this evening. And Detroit can strike out. We were on Schlittler yesterday against Detroit, even though it was a volatile spot in his home ballpark. He went out and absolutely dominated with some strikeouts. I think Alcantara can do the same thing. It is dangerous, but he's in a good ballpark and he's pitching at home. So Alcantara is definitely somebody I want exposure to, especially at 6K. On the other side, Tariq Skubal, 12K. That's fine. We're just definitely playing him. Miami doesn't strike out all that much, especially the left-handed pitching, but still, it's Tariq Skubal, arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball. I have no worries about using him against the Marlins. Houston, Atlanta. Blue Ball expected to be the long man. I'm going to pass on him. He did just pitch a couple days ago, 3 1/3, so I'm not really sure what the Astros are going to end up doing. Waldrop, he's interesting. His walks have been up the last 2. That's a huge worry for me. I think he's in play. I just don't know if I'm going to get there. Houston has a dangerous enough lineup that I just don't like the fact that if he's going to add in some walks, like some bad things can happen, especially on an efficiency site. I think I'd be more inclined to use him on FanDuel, to be honest. St. Louis, Milwaukee, I'm not using Payante. Quinn Priester, definitely been a revelation for much of the season. His August numbers overall not very strong. Bounce back, decent start his last time out. 23 fantasy points. 2 starts against St. Louis this year have not been good. Just no strikeouts because St. Louis generally doesn't strike out. I am tempted to use him. I'm not sure what St. Louis's recent trends are like, how they're swinging it. But you look, the Brewers have not lost a game started by Quinn Priester since May 24th. That says a lot to me. The Cardinals have just 3 home runs over the last 6 games, just 16 runs, nearly 11 strikeouts per game. I think Quinn Priester is just going to have to be in play, as gross as it feels. Colorado, San Diego. I'm not using Tanner Gordon. JP Sears. Is he going to get the start? He is. I'd seen something about maybe Dylan Cease starting, but that is fine. Not sure if I want to use JP Sears all that much. I'm going to dig into what he's done in the minors since going back down, get an idea. He does get a bump because he is facing Colorado, but I'm not going to commit to for sure using Sears just yet. I want to dig in a little bit more. Cincinnati and the A's. JT Ginn, somebody we used last time out, thought he had more K upside than that. Decent K guy. He can give up home runs, which is not an ideal thing in this ballpark. With that said, Cincinnati can strike out. So I think JT Ginn is in play. I'd rather use Alcantara if I'm spending down, but I do believe that Ginn has the upside we need on this particular slate. Brady Singer's been 19 plus fantasy points in 5 straight starts and 7 out of his last 8. Really strong stretch. It's not the most ideal ballpark, that's for sure. He has struggled on the road this season. He doesn't give up too many home runs, though, which is obviously key going into this ballpark. I think I am going to use Brady Singer, and I don't love the idea of it, but the A's can strike out plenty. They obviously have a ton of power, but they can still strike out. And strikeouts can offset some of the power allowed. They're averaging about 9.5 strikeouts per game over the last week. 1.7 home runs per game. 6 runs per game. I mean, it's a tough spot, but I do think I'm going to end up sprinkling in some Singer. Angels and Mariners. Kikuchi, some rough starts recently. A terrible start against Seattle. The first time he faced him, he's been bad on the road. The whip is massive. I just don't think I'm going to get there on DK. If you wanted to gamble with him on FanDuel, even though his strikeouts have been down, he does have K upside, and where you're not going to be nicked by his walks and hits allowed as much as you would be on DK. Other side, Luis Castillo, I'm definitely using him. He's somebody I use when he's at home. It's definitely something I've talked about a lot. Just massive home road splits. He did struggle against the Angels the one time he faced them, but he does get a K boost against this team, and I'm all for it. The one time he faced them was on the road, so definitely Luis Castillo going to be one of my favorite pitchers because of his home road splits. Last game on the slate, Yamamoto, Verlander. I'm just not going to Verlander. I'm fine passing on him, whatever. Yamamoto coming off of his near no-hitter, back-to-back games with 10 strikeouts. Not so great against San Francisco so far this season overall, but his road numbers have been phenomenal, and this ballpark is just made for pitching. So Yamamoto is 100% going to be in my pitching pool. Well, there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop links in the description below. For this week yet, we do have the promo code MILLY, M-I-L-L-Y. That'll get you 20% off any membership for as long as you are signed up. It is our strongest code ever. And I will drop a link to our merch store in the description. Our pre-lock show, my hoodie, all the other stuff, tournament tactics. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And as always, best of luck, everybody.